So, another thing I believe interesting I've made on the drop is this little portion. For the same reason that make me adding the rhythmical funky guitar, the extra drums, etc., I've tried to create something to make even more interesting the drop, which is this little, I don't know how to call it, this chord progression, yeah, into the middle of the drop, together with some drum fills and some effects. I believe there are other effects going on, yeah, which are this one. Let's listen the whole thing with effects. Effects are another important, very important thing in all of your productions. Still, for the reason that effects can make a drop, a breakdown, an intro, an outro more interesting than, you know, a never-stopping drop, for example. Because if you have the same loop going on without anything entering, anything leaving, any effects or stuff, your drop is just a loop. So you have to give soul to your drop, and to give soul to your drop, to give soul to your track, you should find, you know, good ideas, escamotages. For example, effects are good, or in this case, chord progression can be nice. So this is just a keyscape. I'm a big fan of keyscape by Spectrasonics. Still keyscape, different octave, Nexus to give a little bit of electro sound, because otherwise it's too concrete. Another Nexus. So there are two pads which are made by the two Nexus and two real instruments made by the keyscape. It's very important when you do layer also to play and work with octaves. So not to leave every singular instrument on the same level, on the same octave. Maybe one on a higher octave, another on, you know, a lower octave, and so on. But, you know, when you're doing a layer of a lead sound where you just have a melody, it's easy. When you have chords, what you should do, it's also play with your chords. Because as you can see, these MIDI are not all the same. They're different. They're different not because the octave is different, but because the way the chord has been tweaked is different. Now I can show you exactly what I mean. I'm supposed to have somewhere an Nexus here with a stupid piano. Supposed to be this one. Let's see. No. Oh, it's playing. Oh, interesting stuff. Hold on. So, well, let's add a brand new one. It's easier. Nexus, here we go. Add the track. And then we can just add a piano, grand piano. Very good. Okay, so for example, this is the chord progression I've played into the break, which goes like. But to explain you the concept I was trying to show you in Logic, it's very simple. This is a B minor chord, which is made by B, D, and F sharp. And this is C3 octave, right? You can do it on this octave, in this octave, on this octave. And this is just transposing one octave higher your chord, nothing more. But you can tweak it, which means if the sequence of the note is B, D, and F sharp, why not make F sharp, B, and D? It's still a B minor. Or why not to make a D, F sharp, and B? Still the same chord. So that's what you should do when you are layering different kind of chords. If you have, for example, a Rhodes piano, a Wurlitzer, whatever you have, it can be also pads. Maybe one pad is working good with these sequences of notes, but maybe another pad is working better if you play it this way. So just try to be creative, move your MIDI files. It's very easy if you're not able to play. Just move them and you will have it. Let's go back to Logic. And so you see, that's what I've exactly done here with these chords into the drop. Each of them are tweaked, and the sequences of the note as well as the octave is different. And that's the final result.
Wait a minute.
Very good. As you can hear, there are a few vocals here. They has been made by my friend Samuele, which is a very talented singer, and I asked him, hey, I need you to give me impressions of James Brown, and he made it, and the result is pretty nice. So, that's everything regarding the drop. I believe I explained you everything. We can move into the breakdown. And that's our breakdown. Let's have a listen.
Tell me, is it alright if we go for a ride? Gasoline in my fire, take me home tonight. You got that something, baby, in your eyes. I said you got that something, sugar with some spice. Just something about you, baby, feels alright. Something crazy I miss all my life. You got that something, baby, in your eyes. I said you got that something, sugar with some spice. Just something about you, baby, feels alright. Something crazy that I look for all my life.
Here we go. So that's our breakdown, and it's very easy how it worked, because I simply played this chord progression. After playing the chord progression, I'll just try to make the chord progression growing in terms of emphasis. So how to do it? Well, the chords in this portion of the track are exactly the same. What it changes is the metric of the chord. Instead of going bam, bam, ba, 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 bam, which are single chords, I give a little bit of groove to this chord. So and also here, the concept of layer is very important. This is a road. Still is a keyscape, which has some incredible, really sampled instruments like pianos, Rhodes, clavinet, etc. This is a clavinet, which makes exactly the same thing. I'm a big fan of Stevie Wonder, and this sound really reminds the beat Stevie's tracks. And of course, my Hammond, which is made in two different portions. The first one is the top hand. It's more chords used as pads. And this harmonics is used also to create tension, you see? Listen. So I've changed the octave. Very good. And least but not last, bass line. And this bass line has been played with bass of the Hammond, because the Hammond has like the lower keyboard. The Hammond has two high keyboards and a very low keyboard, which is the foot keyboard. And you can play basses there, and that's what I made. So differently from the rest of the track, well, mostly differently from the drop, where I've really quantized every single audio channel, acoustic audio channel of the drop to have all the layer tight, as I explained to you. Here I've just left everything as played to give a little bit of human touch. So there is this first portion of the breakdown with these chords which are long, and then it goes into the main body of the breakdown, which is this one.
You got that something.
Let's mute a little bit the vocal. Vocal, mute. Is not muting. Ah, interesting. The vocal is not muting. Very interesting. So let's just erase the vocal. And then we can recall it. Very good. So Road, once again, keyscape with the new metric. Together with a keyscape piano. Together with a Nexus piano with lower end and more stereo image. Together with a real Hammond. Together with bass. For basses, I really love to use Trillion because you have a lot of electro sound as well as a lot of real sound. In this case, I've used this one, which is a fingered bass. Clean Fender full range, precisely, plus of course all of my plugin. So a nice Ampeg. Guitar rig to add a little bit of distortion and effect. EQ, sausage partner to drive it a little bit. And of course, then we need the sub bass. Still Trillion. This is deep. Deep. Okay. Mono. And they're working together. If you can hear it, what I've tried to do is use a different metric of the bass. But the metric of the bass, even if it's different, is really following the piano. So the piano has a more complex metric because it goes while the bass is just doing so it's missing a little bit of note by the piano to give more room to the piano to work. Yeah. Another very important instrument I've added here is this guitar, made still by Luca. Also, in this specific case, I haven't quantized the audio of this guitar because here in the breakdown I was really willing to keep the live played feeling. So with the vocal and everything.
You got that something, baby, in your eyes. I said you got that something, sugar with some spice. Just something about you, baby, feels alright.
The only thing that is missed is this claps, or simple claps with a little bit of a EQ, nothing more than that. And this crowd effects to give, you know, a little bit of I don't know, I even have no idea how to call it. Give a little bit of something different inside the breakdown, which is this one.
With some spice, just something about you, baby, feels alright. Something crazy I miss.
So, given to the fact that the hook has been synced twice, and still to make a little bit different the breakdown, so to create more pathos and more, I don't know how to say, more tension, so to build it up, I've added in the second portion of the break this ostinato strings which are answering to the piano. And last but not last, some solo strings composed by a violin, a viola, and a cello. What is nice here to use is this one. East-West Gold, to me, has some of the best strings you can ever have. And so this is the theme. So if I mute the vocal, that is back. Now, well, let's erase it again. It will sound like this. Also, the Hammond here, which still is the real Hammond, is creating patterns because is not playing the same chords the whole time. Is pitching the chords onto a higher octave to create suspension and to drive the breakdown into the build-up. So and the entire breakdown is done. Let's go to the vocal, which is a very important portion of our breakdown. Initially, the track born as an instrumental. Once heard the track with the theme of Protocol, we chosen to add a vocal to make it even more interesting. So I called Casey, which is a super talented singer from Oslo, and we wrote together this very nice melody, and well, she wrote the lyrics and I just helped with melody. Actually, I'm not a lyricist. But what you can see here is that this vocal is stereo, and it's already a compo. Why? Because what I've done is recording the vocal here on Cubase, not here, don't save, not even in this project, which now is opening. Oh, no, it's exactly here. So, you see, we have created a lead sound first.
You got that something, baby, in your eyes. I said you got that something, sugar with some spice. Just something about you, baby, feels alright.
This is our lead voice. After having the lead vocal, and when both me and Casey were satisfied about it, we've just doubled it with two other voices which are doing simple unison.
You got that something, baby, in your eyes. I said you got that.
Once all the recording were done, I've just done a nice synchronization. Here, you see that everything has been synchronized manually, stretched, pitched, of course a little bit of, well, a little bit of auto-tune, and it's a little bit of a cue, because there's a PUTEC and it's just to drive the 10K of the vocal. I told you at the beginning of the masterclass that the PUTEC to me is very nice to make all the instrument, but especially the voices, more bright. And this is just a channel straight by SSL, which is phenomenal. So you can do a lot of things. You can do compression, and you can also do EQing here. So every singular channel has been tweaked and plugged and mixed and panned, because the main lead vocal, of course, is center, and the left is 20% left, the right is 20% right. And all of them still has been driven into a bus. The bus has been retweaked again. And at the end, I got this vocal.
You got that something, baby, in your eyes. I said you got that something, shoot.
And on this vocal, I've done a very boring job, which is I have done a manual de-esser. there is something you should know, which is you can use de-esser, of course. But if you use de-esser plugin, de-esser just works on certain frequencies. You just analyze your vocal, you understand where the S are hitting the frequencies. So for example, KZS were hitting about 6/7K. And at that point, if you add the de-esser, all the 6 and 7K in the whole vocal will be attenuated, even when there are no S. So instead of using the de-esser, I've just exported, re-imported, and done automation on the fader of the vocal to turn it down when the S entered to make the S softer. Then I have bounce it, compress it, and bring it into Logic. And this is very, very important because, you know, this is a complex project. Having the three voices separated into this project was making my life harder, while having this voice, which is the three voices together already compressed, was making the whole mixing processing way, way, way easier. So this is the final vocal, which has been added here. You see? Another EQ. There is a little bit of de-esser, just a little bit of attenuation, nothing very important. And then some reverb, but these are just automated reverb. The real reverb is here and is still ascend. These are just made to create the ending, special long effects on the ending when the breakdown turns into the build-up. As you have seen in this video, I have mentioned a lot of persons. I've mentioned my guitar player Luca Marchesini, I've mentioned Casey, of course, the singer, I've mentioned Leonardo Mastronardi, the bass player, I've mentioned Riccardo, which is the trumpet player, and also the director of the brass session. Why? Because what is very important and something you should always remember is teamwork. Remember, guys, that teamwork is something very, very, very important for all of your production. Do not pretend to do everything your own. For example, I play a little bit of guitar, but why should I play guitar when I have a fantastic player like Luca? I play a little bit of bass too, but why I have to play bass my own when I have a nice bass player? And so on. So do not pretend to make everything your own. Create your own team to do your production. It can be friends, it can be whatever. Like all the musicians that has been working with me and helped me to realize this track are friends of mine. But even if they're not friends, you can just find the right person and propose them to cooperate, because music keeps on living thanks to contamination, and contamination can exist only when people are cooperating together. Different ideas, different tastes, different melodies, different ways of playing, of composing, whatever it is, they are mixed together and they make the music going. So that's my advice. After that, we can move into the build-up, which is very, very easy. Nothing complicated. There is automation on the string to do pitch down, and automation on the vocal to have a little bit of reverb, long effects.
Crazy that I look for all my life.
This is the pre-build up. And here is the build up. So, what's inside the pre-build up is simple. Effects. Impact. Impact are very important to give emphasis to places. Like, for example, the breakdown is ending. Okay, boom. You put an impact so people understand it. Yeah. Filters, down filters. Other impact, tension. Stereo sub but enters later. Yeah, team concept. I just giving you this stupid example, this specific effects has been made by David Allen. David is one of the artists which works together with me here at the Art and Music Studios. And he just heard the track and I say to David, David, I'm having troubles with this fucking build up. Did you have any ideas? After an hour, he came with this. And this, to me, made the entire pre-build up even cooler. Okay? After that, there is the build-up, which is a classic build-up with risers, phasers, and of course, bunch of drums. Let's analyze it. take a roll. I love it. I love to use cinematics effects into my productions. It's part of my sound signature. Sub-drived, which is sub-impact distorted. Other impacts, attention. This is a stereo build-up made with a trillion, with a pitch. Oh, that's interesting. Also here, I've added distortion made with my Hammond. You see? And so on. We have snares, snare rolls. So rhythmical information. And the build-up is done. So I believe I told you practically everything. Of course, there is intro and outro. Intro is very simple. Let's have a look into it. There is filtered kick and there is guitar, which still is the same guitar that you have in the drop, in the second portion, the second part of the drop. And this is still the David Allen effects. Another guitar, still by Luca, which is still in the drop. A sub with a very heavy LFO. Stereo sub. No, which is more a bass pad. Yeah. And here the real sub, which enters. Here we go. That's the real sub, the real thing. This is a real slap bass played by Leonardo, and I just took two notes, no, one note, ta-tan, 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 made the metric in Cubase, re-import it, tweak it, and well, just use it into this intro. A little laser intro. And of course the strong kick, and not any longer the filter kick. The outro has been made with the same elements, so same concept. And of course, after the intro, there is this build-up. Of course, here there is the main melody of the lead sound of the drop, so that people can start to listen immediately from here, yeah? I think I really explained you everything. There are two other very important things I want to tell you quickly. The first is, you see this project, drums, fills, lead, brass, bass and sub. This is the chords into the drop, all the breakdown organized together. I'm showing you how I made this project because if you count at the end, it's not a lot of tracks, but still is 156 tracks. And it's very, very important for you to stay organized. If you are working into your projects and you are not organized, then you can really have troubles when you have to find an element, a channel, because they got lost. But if you are organized and you have your structure with all the channel named into the right way, it will be very easy to go work at it. Let's imagine that you do a project today and you close it for a month, try to open it up after a month, and if it's not organized, you are kind of really fucked. Sorry for the word fucked, but that's exactly what happens. So always stay organized in your project. Another important thing is automations. Automations are very important. You see, I have volume automations, I have reverb automations, I have cutoff, creative filter, cutoff automation, and so on. Automation still gives life to your tracks because they transform your sound. Your loopy sound with automation will sound different because maybe you're filtering, you are adding reverb or whatever it is. So these are the important things to do to make a nice track, in my opinion. Okay, so last thing I want to discuss with you is a little bit of mix and master. During the entire video, I've practically showed you how I've mixed the track. So I've explained you concept like it's very important to create depth. You know, for every single channel, it's very important to work on frequencies in order to understand which frequencies will be used for a certain channel or layer and which frequency will not be used because it's taken by somebody else into the project. I have explained to you how much is important to create your dedicated presets like EQ, reverb, etc., for each singular channel. But what I haven't told you is that given to the fact that today we have this possibility, this chance to really create our own sound thanks to mixing process and thanks to plugin process, it's very, very important to do pre-mix and pre-plugin process already while into the production moment. So in the moment in which you are creating your track, in that precise moment, you're starting to add 1, 2, 3, 4 channels, you made your drums, you made, I don't know, you're starting to make the layer of your lead sound. Please start immediately to do a little bit of mixer and to do a little bit of EQing and plugin, because that's the only way to realize really where the track can go. If you don't do this, you taking a huge risk, which is you are adding too much. Because maybe you just need 4 channels and 4 channels well mixed EQ and plugins instead of 20 channels which are just 20 channels one over the other. That's something you really don't need. So start to mix your project, start to mix your channels, start to EQ your channels, start to add plugins on your channels in the precise moment where you have already created your melodies and you're just creating the layer or you're just going with your arrangement process. So regarding mastering, what to tell you? Mastering is another very, very, very important thing and process that you should know in each singular track. For this precise track, what I've done, I've done a premix, a digital premix inside Logic, as I have showed you, and as you can see here from the mixer and all the plugins that has been used. I was already very satisfied about it, but given to the nature of the track and to make the track even more concrete, even more real, what I've done is just, I have routed the channels of Logic into this solid state Logic duality, which is a fantastic analog mixer. And I've just tweaked a little bit because it was already mixed. I was just willing to give more analog touch to the mix. And for the master, what I've done was just, I took the output of the SSL from our patch bay. I have derived the output of the SSL inside the Logic. And that's our mastering channel. So the track without the mastering sounds exactly like that. And the track with the master sounds like this. Very simple master chain. It is still a Pro Q2 with a cut on 23 Hz and some boosting on frequencies I was missing. Of course, it's linear phase. It's very important. Use always linear phase for mastering. This is another compressor, a Dynamics Biozone, to better control each band which has been cutted by me. So I've chosen where this band was supposed to work, because you know you can move here. Yeah. A linear multiband. This is compressing and like maximizing at the same time. This is an Ozone 7 with I major to open our stereo image, which is something you already have to achieve into the mixing process, but it's something that you can even better achieve into the mastering process. So still here, band per band, they has been tweaked. For example, if you see this first band, which goes from 20 Hz to 110, I have reduced the stereo image because I want them to be mono. Like this band has been switched off because it was not needing to, you know, open even more the stereo image. This band has been opened a lot, as well as this band too. Maximizer. Another FAB filter with a final EQ and tweaking. And a max volume to do limiting. So guys, I really believe I've explained you everything regarding this track, including few of my tricks. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you like that, just follow me on my social. I'm Dr. Shiver, this is Art and Music Recording, and this was something featuring Casey out on Protocol. Ciao!